You've got about 2 laps of fuel.
Hey everyone, my name is Wyatt Brkoczyk. I'm a race car driver in the European Le Mans series, and this is my lap guide around Okayama in the LMP2 car on iRacing. A few things to note: test session, average temperature, using the VRS qualifying setup, and let's get into it. After the 100, roll as much speed as you can into the corner. You want to hit this apex, and then once you feel like you've rotated the car enough, back to power, use all the track exit. Be careful on wheel spin. Don't use too much. All the way back over to the right-hand side. Very important as well. This corner seems to understeer a bit. So if you have to, aggressive lift or use the brake a little bit to help rotate the car. Another very important corner to use all the apex, roll the speed. Once you feel like you're straightened out, back to power, you can use all this exit. And then straighten out the car as much as you can through this section. Pretty difficult braking zone here as it's slightly downhill and then a pretty banked corner. There's two ways I've found to take this corner. One is to use a higher minimum, go a little bit wider on exit, but you get some wheel spin and it can affect your straight line. This line is to use a little bit lower minimum, but keep the car tight on exit and get a better exit on power. And that's what I do here. It's just something to play with. So down the gears, maybe spread out the gear shifts a little bit, can help with braking. All the apex, and then just keep rotating the car. You can see a big difference between this and the other line I was talking about. So down the long straight, I go up to 6th gear. Pretty important to either, if you're just staying in the rev limiter, stay in 5th. But if you're pretty long in 6th gear, go up. Might depend on what you're doing in the race or track conditions. But here in Quali Sim, go up to 6th. This is the hardest braking zone on the corner, in my opinion. It's slightly downhill, but then slopes down a lot at the end, and then it's pretty banked. So you want to make sure you use all the techniques you can, and also be cautious under braking to not lock up the tire. It can be very important in the race, as tires are a big deal here. So spread out your downshifts as much as possible. Keep the car stable. Very late apex. Use all that curb. Only use middle of the track. You're going to get wheel spin over this crest. No worries about that. Just keep the car under you. And then make sure you get all the way over to the right side here. Set up for this corner. It's kind of an awkward corner here. It's going to feel weird, but you just want to roll the speed in. No brake, no throttle, in my opinion. And then use all of this curb. I'm basically in the middle here. Middle of this curb, middle of the car. So you just want to ride this curb. Helps you get a better exit through here. Rotates the car quite nicely. You want to make sure you're straight going into this next part. I turn in slightly early. As you can see, I have to do a double correct, or I have to add more wheel mid-corner, which you don't want to necessarily, but I feel like it's very difficult to get that later apex in perfectly. So just experiment with that. On exit, get to power as soon as you can. Wheel spin doesn't really matter in qualifying, so use up those tires down the straight. You want to make sure you don't go too wide on that exit, but other than that, you should be fine. Going into this next corner, this is another easy one to lock up in. Just make sure you're straight. I hold the second gear a little bit longer than the first downshift, so something to play with. Use as much curb as you can here. Slightly later apex, because you want to make sure you're not using all the track. Only go to about middle of the corner, and then make sure you set up correctly for this one. Not all the way to the outside, but pretty far to the outside so you can get a good exit here. All the curb, roll as much minimum as you can through here. It's going to feel like it's understeering, but just keep rolling the minimum. Get back to power as early as you can once you feel like you rotated enough. This corner can be pretty daunting if you don't really know how to take it correctly. You can go full throttle through here, but I'm breathing off the throttle a little bit. It won't give you that much, and it also could really affect your exit. Make sure you use all the curb here, but you don't want to use too much, as you can drop a wheel here and it will greatly affect your car. So biggest thing here, set up for the last corner, make sure you're stable here. I turn in a little late. I turn in okay here, but I'm just a bit too fast going in. Missed the apex a little bit here, so you can see a little bit of understeer. Cost me a few hundredths here and there, but overall pretty happy with this lap. So thank you all for watching, and hope it helps.